May 9th, 1911, St. Louis, Missouri. A boy is born into a family that already knows how to build the future. His grandfather, John Beggs, wired Thomas Edison's electrical power plants into cities across the world. He manufactured electric trolley cars. He founded Milwaukee's entire public utility system. By the time Robert Paxton McCulloch is a teenager, his grandfather's fortune lands in his hands. He is 14 years old. The money is not the inheritance. The obsession with engines is. McCulloch goes to Stanford. He graduates in 1931 with an engineering degree. Before he even steps onto campus, his peers already call him a thinker and a tinkerer. He marries Barbara Ann Briggs. Her father is Stephen Foster Briggs, the Briggs of Briggs and Stratton. McCulloch is surrounded by industrial royalty. He intends to build his own throne. In 1936, he founds McCulloch Engineering in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The company builds small motors and superchargers. 7 years later, he sells it to Borg Warner Corporation for $1 million. He is 32 years old. He does not retire. He reinvests. 6 months after the sale, he launches McCulloch Aviation. The company builds lightweight two-cycle engines for military target drones during World War II. Every engine is small. Every engine is powerful. Every engine runs lean and fast. The war ends. The drones are grounded. The engines are not. In 1946, McCulloch moves the entire operation from Milwaukee to Los Angeles, California. He renames it McCulloch Motors Corporation. The factory sits on what was once a bean field, across the road from a military airstrip that will become Los Angeles International Airport. McCulloch is already building in the right place before anyone else knows it is the right place. At this moment in 1946, cutting down a large tree requires 2 men and a crosscut saw stretching 6 to 8 feet long. The work is slow, the cost is high. The American timber industry runs on human muscle. Every logging crew that wants a tree down has to haul 2 workers, 2 sets of arms, 2 sets of lungs into the forest. McCulloch looks at that problem the same way he looked at every other problem. He builds a machine to solve it. In 1948, the first McCulloch chainsaw rolls off the factory floor in Los Angeles. The 2-man era of logging is about to end. This is a game changer. The machine is called the Model 549. It weighs 49 pounds. It runs on a 5-horsepower 2-stroke engine. It is built from die-cast magnesium, not cast iron, like every other saw on the market. The magnesium makes it lighter. The short-stroke engine makes it faster. The waterproof air-cooled coil means it runs in rain, in mud, in conditions that kill other machines. Every competing 2-man saw on the market is heavier and weaker. The Model 549 beats all of them, but it still needs 2 men to operate. McCulloch knows that is 1 man too many. 1 year later, in 1949, he solves it. The Model 325 rolls out of the Los Angeles factory. It weighs 25 pounds, 3 horsepower, 1 operator, no partner required. A single logger can now walk into a forest, start the saw, and fell a tree alone. What once took 2 trained workers and a crosscut saw the length of a dining table now takes 1 man and a 25-pound machine. The professional world buys it immediately, then the farmers buy it, then the homeowners buy it. A tool built for logging camps ends up in suburban garages across America. McCulloch does not just improve the chainsaw, he creates an entirely new consumer market that did not exist before. In 1951, McCulloch introduced the first balanced engine chainsaw to reduce vibration. Loggers could now run the saw for longer without their hands going numb. In 1953, they released the first lightweight gear drive saw weighing under 21 pounds. The saw kept getting smaller, and the market kept getting bigger. In 1955, McCulloch introduced the first chainsaw with bearings in the piston. Service life increased and downtime dropped. In 1956, they offered the first chainsaw with the carburetor enclosed in filtered air. Dust and debris stopped killing engines in the field. Every year, one more problem was eliminated, one more reason for a competitor to lose a sale. By 1958, the company had grown large enough that McCulloch renamed it. McCulloch Motors Corporation became the McCulloch Corporation. The motor company had become an empire. In 1962, McCulloch reached a number no chainsaw manufacturer in history had ever reached. They produced 1 million saws. The company that had started on a Los Angeles bean field 15 years earlier was now the largest chainsaw manufacturer on Earth. McCulloch did not celebrate for long. In 1963, he opens a manufacturing plant in Mechelen, Belgium. McCulloch becomes the first American chainsaw company to open a factory in Europe. The American Chainsaw King plants his flag on foreign soil. European loggers, farmers and foresters start buying McCulloch saws the same way Americans do. In 1964, McCulloch opens a manufacturing plant in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Then another, then two more. Within 2 years, 4 McCulloch plants operate in the Arizona desert. The company is no longer a single factory in Los Angeles. It is a manufacturing network spanning 2 continents. In 1965, McCulloch produces the first chainsaw to weigh just 10 pounds. 10 years earlier, the lightest saw on the market weighed over 20 pounds. McCulloch cuts that number in half again. In 1966, McCulloch produces the world's first electric starting chainsaw, the Model 310E. Before this saw, every chainsaw on Earth starts with a pull cord. A logger wraps the cord around the starter, grips the handle, and yanks, hard, repeatedly, in cold weather, in wet weather, with tired arms at the end of a 10-hour shift. The 310E ends all of that. Turn a key. The engine starts. It is the same leap the automobile industry made 50 years earlier, applied to the chainsaw. In 1967, McCulloch hits 2 million saws produced. Another first. Another number no competitor has touched. In 1968, McCulloch introduces the Power Max 6. It weighs 6.5 pounds, fully fueled. The heaviest saw, McCulloch built 20 years earlier, weighed 49 pounds. The lightest saw McCulloch builds now weighs 6.5 pounds. The machine has shed 85% of its original weight in 2 decades. The chainsaw is now light enough for anyone to pick up and use. Loggers buy it, landscapers buy it, homeowners with 2 trees in a backyard buy it. McCulloch owns the market. But Robert McCulloch is not a man who builds one thing. He builds ecosystems. In the 1950s, alongside the chainsaw operation, McCulloch launches McCulloch Oil Corporation. The company pursues oil and gas exploration, land development, and geothermal energy. McCulloch is prospecting in Alaska, drilling test wells not far from Prudhoe Bay, while simultaneously running the most dominant chainsaw company in the world. He is building in multiple directions at once. The Arizona desert becomes his canvas. In the late 1950s, McCulloch is testing outboard motors on Lake Havasu, a reservoir on the Arizona and California border. He needs a test site. He flies to the lake. He looks at the water, then he looks at the surrounding land. He does not see desert. He sees a city that has not been built yet. In 1963, on the courthouse steps of Kingman, Arizona, McCulloch purchases a 26 square mile parcel of barren desert for next to nothing. The land has no water infrastructure, no roads, no population. The federal government originally seized it as a military landing strip and abandoned it. The state of Arizona gives McCulloch the land in exchange for a promise to develop it. His real estate agents cannot bring buyers out. The land is remote. The climate is brutal. Summer temperatures exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit. McCulloch solves the problem the way he always solves problems. He spends money other people would not spend to buy attention other people cannot generate. He purchases 11 commercial airplanes. He uses them to fly potential buyers directly to the desert. He builds a fleet of 40 white Jeeps to drive those buyers around the growing site. Lake Havasu City begins to take shape. Streets are laid, houses go up. A town materializes in the middle of the Mojave. But McCulloch needs the world to know the town exists. In 1968, his real estate agent, Robert Plumer, brings him an unusual piece of information. The City of London is selling its old London Bridge. The 1831 granite bridge is sinking. London's traffic has grown heavier than the structure can bear. The city needs a new bridge and wants to sell the old one. Nobody knows what to do with a 137-year-old granite bridge. McCulloch knows exactly what to do with it. On April 18, 1968, McCulloch places the winning bid. The price is $2.46 million. He calculates the number by doubling the estimated dismantling cost of $1.2 million. Then he adds $60,000, $1,000 for every year of his age when the bridge is scheduled to reopen. Workers in London number every granite brick. Each stone is marked with its arch span, its row number, and its exact position. The bridge is disassembled stone by stone, packed into crates and shipped to Long Beach, California, via the Panama Canal. From Long Beach, a convoy of trucks carries the stones across the Mojave Desert to Lake Havasu City. McCulloch dredges a channel beneath the reconstruction site, separating a peninsula from the mainland to give the bridge something to cross. The bridge reassembles over water, exactly as it stood over the Thames in London. On October 10, 1971, Lake Havasu City rededicates the London Bridge in a public ceremony. The Lord Mayor of London attends. International press covers it. A story about a chainsaw manufacturer shipping a Victorian-era bridge to the Arizona desert runs in newspapers across the world. Every article mentions Lake Havasu City. Every tourist who wants to see the bridge has to come to McCulloch's town. Every visitor who comes to see the bridge walks past McCulloch's real estate lots. The gamble pays, lot sales accelerate, the town grows, the bridge pays for itself and then keeps paying. Today, the London Bridge is the second largest tourist attraction in Arizona, behind only the Grand Canyon. McCulloch builds a factory in a city, then he builds the city around the factory. Then he ships a foreign landmark to the desert to put the city on the map. By 1971, McCulloch Corporation produces its 3 millionth chainsaw. The company that launched with a 49-pound two-man saw in 1948 now produces millions of machines per year, sold across 2 continents in a market McCulloch built from nothing. In 1972, the Mini-Mac 1 arrives. It is an affordable saw designed specifically for homeowners and small landscaping companies. McCulloch is no longer selling to loggers and professionals only. The chainsaw is now a household tool. Robert McCulloch is 61 years old. He commands the most dominant chainsaw company in American history. His manufactured city sits on land nobody else wanted. His London Bridge draws tourists from around the world. Then in 1973, he sells the company, and the blade begins to dull. In 1973, Robert McCulloch sells McCulloch Corporation to Black & Decker for $65 million. On paper, it is a triumph. $65 million for a company he built from a $1 million war surplus engine operation. The numbers look like victory. They are not. Black & Decker is a consumer appliance company. It makes electric drills, circular saws, and household power tools sold in hardware stores to weekend hobbyists. McCulloch makes professional-grade gasoline-powered engines built for loggers, foresters, and arborists who run their saws 8 hours a day in conditions that destroy ordinary equipment. The 2 companies share a product category. They share nothing else. The merger closes formally on October 4, 1974. The United States government fights it in court. The Department of Justice argues the deal is anti-competitive. Their case is direct. Black & Decker is the most significant potential entrant into the gasoline-powered chainsaw market. By buying McCulloch instead of building a competing product, Black & Decker eliminates its own competitive pressure on the market. The government argues the combination of the largest portable electric tool manufacturer with one of the largest gasoline chainsaw manufacturers will entrench and dominate an already concentrated market. The court rules against the government. The merger stands. Black & Decker now holds the keys to the kingdom McCulloch built. The first decision Black & Decker makes is the wrong one. It shifts the company's focus towards smaller, cheaper, consumer-grade chainsaws. The logic is straightforward from a corporate accounting perspective. Consumer products sell in higher volumes. Retail margins are predictable. Mass-market saws move faster off shelves than professional-grade equipment. The problem is that McCulloch's reputation was built entirely on professional-grade equipment. Loggers, arborists, and forestry crews notice the shift immediately. These are buyers who run a chainsaw until it breaks, then buy another one exactly like it. They have no brand loyalty to a name that stops delivering. They start looking at Husqvarna. They start looking at Stihl. Both companies are doing exactly what the original McCulloch did in the 1950s. Relentless innovation, lighter machines, better ergonomics, more power per pound. Husqvarna and Stihl are spending heavily on professional-grade product development, while Black & Decker is pointing McCulloch toward the consumer aisle. The professionals leave first, the serious users follow. On February 25, 1977, Robert McCulloch dies in Los Angeles. The cause is an accidental overdose of alcohol and barbiturates. He is 65 years old, the man who mechanized the American forest, who built a city in the Arizona desert, who shipped a Victorian bridge across the Atlantic and the continent, dies in a city he helped build. He leaves behind a company he no longer owns, run by people who do not understand what he built or why it mattered. There is no single moment when McCulloch breaks. It erodes. Through the late 1970s, the North American forest industry contracts. Environmental regulations tighten. Old growth logging contracts shrink. The federal government restricts timber harvesting on public lands. The professional chainsaw market that McCulloch built its reputation on gets smaller every year. The core customer base that drove McCulloch's growth from 1 million to 3 million saws is logging fewer trees on fewer acres. Black & Decker does not adapt to the shifting market. It doubles down on consumer products. The professional line gets less investment. The engineering pipeline that produced a decade of world firsts from 1948 to 1968 goes quiet. McCulloch stops leading, it starts following. By the early 1980s, Stihl and Husqvarna have moved ahead on nearly every professional metric: anti-vibration systems, inertia-activated chain brakes, ergonomic handle geometry, safety features that reduce operator fatigue and injury. These are not cosmetic improvements. They are the kinds of engineering advances that win long-term contracts with forestry companies and government land management agencies. McCulloch, now managed as a consumer brand inside a consumer appliance company, is not competing for those contracts. In November 1984, Black & Decker sells McCulloch to a private investment group. One more handoff, one more new owner with no institutional memory of what McCulloch once was. The private group tries to stabilize the brand. The strategy is diversification. In the 1970s and the 1980s, McCulloch adds hedge trimmers, string trimmers, and leaf blowers to its product range. The company that defined itself through chainsaw excellence is now a general garden equipment brand. In 1988, McCulloch abandons its Los Angeles and Lake Havasu city roots entirely. The company moves its corporate headquarters to Tucson, Arizona, opening a new office and distribution facility. The company Robert McCulloch built in a Los Angeles bean field, scaled into a multi-plant operation across 2 continents, and ran from a city he founded in the desert, is now a tenant in someone else's building, in a city that has nothing to do with its history. The address changes, the problems do not. Through the 1990s, the competitive landscape becomes brutal in a new way. Asian manufacturers enter the market. Chinese factories begin producing chainsaws and garden power equipment at prices that undercut every established Western brand. The products are not as refined, but they are cheap. And for the homeowner market that McCulloch spent the 1980s chasing, cheap is often enough. McCulloch is now caught between two forces it cannot outmaneuver. Husqvarna and steel own the professional end. Asian manufacturers own the budget end. McCulloch sits in the middle with a weakened product line, a diluted brand identity, and no clear answer for either threat. The 1990s management team tries one more strategic pivot. New product categories, lawn mowers, generators. Items that have nothing to do with the chainsaw heritage that made the name mean something. None of the new categories succeed. Each one pulls engineering resources and management attention away from the chainsaw line. Each one makes the core product weaker. A company that once raced to file patents now races to find a market segment where it can survive. In January 1999, the race ends. McCulloch Motors Corporation files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The company that produced the world's first one-man chainsaw, the world's first electric starting chainsaw, the world's first 6-pound chainsaw, and 3 million units in a single production milestone, is insolvent. The debt load is unsustainable. The competition is too fierce. The market share is gone. The bankruptcy proceedings begin the dismemberment. McCulloch's European division is generating $81 million in annual sales and employing 250 people at the time of the filing. It is sold to Electrolux, the parent company of Husqvarna's outdoor products operations, for $33 million. The company that spent the 1960s opening European plants to challenge Husqvarna on its home turf is now selling those operations to Husqvarna for cents on the dollar of their revenue. In October 1999, the North American operations are acquired by Zhenfeng Industrial Company, a Taiwanese manufacturer. Zhenfeng adds electric power tools and pressure washers to the McCulloch product line. The brand that Robert McCulloch built on gasoline-powered precision engineering is now a label on electric tools assembled in Taiwan. In 2003, MTD Products signs a distribution and licensing agreement with Zhenfeng. MTD exclusively produces McCulloch products in North America. The name belongs to one company, the manufacturing belongs to another, the distribution belongs to a third. McCulloch is no longer a company, it is a license arrangement. In March 2008, Husqvarna acquires the outdoor products division of Zhenfeng. The McCulloch brand in the North American market now belongs to Husqvarna. The journey is complete in the most painful way possible. The company Robert McCulloch built to dominate the chainsaw market, the company that made Husqvarna fight for its own customers in its own European backyard, the company that produced more chainsaws than any manufacturer in history, is now a brand name in Husqvarna's portfolio. The predator owns the prey. Trace the line from 1948 to 2008 and the pattern is clear. McCulloch's dominance was built on one principle: obsessive, relentless engineering improvement. The Model 325 beat the competition because it weighed half as much as anything else available. The Power Max 6 beat the competition because it weighed a fraction of what the 325 weighed. The electric starting 310e beat the competition because it solved a problem every operator hated. Each product won on the merits of the engineering. The moment McCulloch stopped leading on engineering, it had no other position to defend. Black & Decker turned a precision tool company into a consumer appliance line. The private owners turned a chainsaw brand into a garden equipment catalogue. The final owners turned a catalogue into a licensing deal. Every transition moved further from the thing that made McCulloch impossible to ignore in the first place. Robert McCulloch ran his company by asking one question over and over: what problem does the operator have today that they did not have a solution for yesterday? After 1973, nobody in the chain of ownership thought to ask it. The saws got lighter under McCulloch because he demanded it. They stopped getting better after McCulloch because no one who followed him cared enough to demand anything at all. The McCulloch name still exists. Husqvarna sells garden equipment under it today. Chainsaws, trimmers, lawnmowers, hedge trimmers. The product line is functional. The engineering is adequate. The brand carries none of the weight it once did. London Bridge still stands in the Arizona desert. 2 million tourists cross it every year. Most of them do not know the name Robert McCulloch. Most of them do not know a chainsaw company paid for it. That is what is left of the empire. A brand name owned by a Swedish competitor. A bridge in a desert city. A product line that shares nothing with the original except the logo. Robert Paxton McCulloch started with a $1 million check from Borg Warner and turned it into the most dominant chainsaw company in American history. He built a city on land nobody wanted. He dragged a 137-year-old bridge across an ocean and a continent to put that city on the map. He filed innovation after innovation in an industry he essentially invented for the mass market. He did all of it by solving problems other people had stopped noticing. The men who followed him inherited the solution. They forgot the habit. That is how you lose an empire built with a chainsaw.